Hi, this is Mike Hendrickson from OSCON 2014 in Portland, Oregon. I'm here with Olivier Bloch. Olivier, how you doing?
Fine. How about you?
Good. So you're with Microsoft.
I work for Microsoft Open Technologies.
Open Technologies. So what do you guys do in the Open Technology group?
So the team is actually a wholly owned subsidiary of Microsoft, working at bridging Microsoft and non-Microsoft world by engaging with open source, open standard communities. And our mantra is Code Talks. So basically we like to work with the communities to make their stuff work on Microsoft platforms. We like to make sure Microsoft platforms are welcoming these open source technologies. We also open source Microsoft technologies like WinJS and things like that we announced recently. We're working with the IoT group these days as an example to open source some of the toolkit for Windows and devices. So a bunch of things in that kind of work.
So what is the area that's probably the most hot or fertile right now with the open technologies that you see Microsoft interfacing with? What area
so,
is it?
if we want to see where it was like cloud on one side and devices connecting together, I think on the cloud we're seeing a lot of engagement with Docker.io, Packer.io, which is about being more interoperable across the various clouds that are out there, and Windows Azure, Microsoft Azure is doing a great job in that area, and we're helping them. On the devices side, there's a lot of things happening on the side of the web development, where we really want to have web developers happy with Windows when they come with their own JavaScript frameworks and so on to build apps for Windows Store. We also see things around the IoT, the Internet of Things, that are growing super fast, and there's been that new program announced a couple of weeks ago for Windows development on devices. So you can definitely find some more information here and there. So IoT, I think web development. There's also that nice trend that we like to follow, which is the creative developers. These guys were technical artists and are building really nice things, 3D and so on. And we're working with them to make sure these technologies work well on these tiny phone devices or on Windows tablets or Windows devices. So I would say there's a lot of areas that are super exciting.
Yes, so the IoT area seems like it's hot right now,
yep.
And Microsoft's been there for a while, and
yep.
people don't know because you're in a lot of cars right now.
Yep.
So you're saying now, though, that Microsoft can run Windows on small devices
yes.
or devices in the field, but you can also then interface with open source. Are there new technologies that allow you to do that?
So, as you mentioned, yes, Windows has been on devices under the name Windows Embedded, different shapes, addressing different markets for a long time. And what is actually new is that new program was a free version of Windows running on a small tiny board. The first board that is supported today is the Intel Galileo board, which is an Arduino compatible board. And it's running a stripped out version of Windows. You have that on our booth. You can play the piano with that. The gist of it, the really cool thing about it, is that today there's a huge community of Arduino developers. And they have developed all these shields, all these extensions that they can plug onto the Arduino boards. And they develop code for that. And what we did is actually we open sourced that implementation of the programming language for Arduino shields called Wiring. We did that implementation for Windows, which means that a guy who has a shield and Intel Galileo runs Windows on it, he can just use the code coming from whoever built that shield, bring it into Visual Studio, compile it, and use that shield in Windows, in a Windows app. So we really wanted to make it straightforward for open source developers, maker communities, to try and embrace Windows, not having to change their code, reinvent anything. So that really is the idea of it. Reuse what you have, the code, your skills, your passion, in order to build devices. And then you have the second part, which is, because it's Windows, it's extra easy to connect to the cloud. And so you basically now have a device that is not only smart, but also connected. And you can take advantage of a lot of the services that are on the cloud. Running Windows, you can basically use any Windows libraries, whether it's for Microsoft clouds or for others. On the Microsoft side of things related to IoT, we're developing services that are dedicated, that are actually oriented towards IoT. There's one thing called the Intelligent System Services, ISS, service on Azure, that is actually designed for IoT scenarios, dealing with big data, machine learning, and so on.
So, but you can also then scale, right? Because you're talking about a Windows instance that's running on a device.
Yes.
But if you scale that to an industrial device, you have that covered from the very small
Yes.
to the large,
Exactly.
and still integrate with open source, or is it?
Still integrate with open source. The good news is that what's going on with Microsoft OpenTech and other group at Microsoft making open source technology work well on Windows, integrating to Visual Studio tools and things like that, actually accrue to all these areas because it's the same Windows. It's Windows on device, it's Windows on phone, it's Windows on tablets, it's Windows on laptop, desktop, it's Windows on server, and it's Windows on the cloud. So basically you have Windows on all these platforms, and that's the same core.
And
so
I
basically
can
the same
program
code.
with whatever language I want.
Yes, you can basically use C++, C Sharp, you can use JavaScript, you can use all these languages to build these apps.
Okay, excellent. So you guys seem to have a lot more people at your booth this year. It
Yep.
looks like it's actually happening pretty well. What are you doing over there?
So,
Why are people all
Yeah.
over there?
So, well, even more, calm. So in the past years, what we did at OSCON is like engage with the community, be part of it, and talk about what we're doing. And this year we were like, okay, so we're always saying that our mantra is called Talks. So how about we get these community try their favorite open source technologies on Windows? So we actually built a bunch of labs that it can go through and experience your favorite technology, whether it's Vagrant, whether it's things like Open Frameworks or OpenCV or others, and try it out on Windows, going through a lab, and at the end of the day you can win stuff, right? Because that's the interest of it. And you have various swags. You have a raffle we're going to run every day with a Surface Pro 3, a Windows Phone device, a couple of Kinect for Windows sensors also. So guys will just go through labs, get tokens for each lab to finish, and then they can redeem that for a raffle ticket. We're going to raffle that at night and give away stuff.
So it's raffle. It's not necessarily win because you had the best code or the
You
best.
win a T-shirt, you win a Bluetooth speaker by going through the first
participating.
lab.
Yeah.
Like there's a survey also you can respond to, and you get one of the swags for that. So you have these kind of cool things that we give away without the raffle. That as long as we have stock, we're going to give these away.
So it's more experiential this year.
It
People
is,
are actually
definitely.
dipping their hands in
Definitely,
and
yeah,
trying things.
yeah. It's more around getting your hands dirty and playing around with the technology, getting to know Visual Studio, and actually we have also a lot of staffing because we brought a lot of people from the Windows team because they want to hear back. Like, here's my tool adapted for this kind of community, and so we want to hear. Our labs might not be perfect, and you guys here might find things that are not working. Good, so that we can fix it. And we can actually go and talk to Visual Studio and Windows team and tell them, you know what, if we really want to satisfy this community and have them adopt our tools and technologies and platforms, how about we do that? And so that's a learning process also for us.
So if there was one open source tool that you think developers use the most when they're targeting a Windows platform, which tool is that?
I personally wouldn't be able to identify one in particular.
Or
I know
a few?
there are DevOps technology that are used a lot these days, both like for the Windows side or the client side of things and the cloud side of things. So I know that Chef, Vagrant, and other things like that, and Puppet are things that really have a lot of hit these days. On the client side of things, I think web technologies are really hot. So actually, that's a good point. Today we're announcing, almost forgot, someone will kill me. We are announcing what we call a dynamic content scheme for Windows Store app. What that is, it's a scheme that allows web developers to bring their JavaScript frameworks to build Windows Store apps. So the support for JavaScript development has been here since Windows 8 was out. What actually is happening is that there's a security model that limits what you can do in JavaScript code, because you're not running in a web browser with a sandbox. You're running in an app that can access the resources of the device. So you have to enforce some security level here. So there are things that you would do on the website, like injecting dynamic content and things like that are forbidden on Windows web apps. And so we're delivering that open source shim that allows to not have to change your code for it to comply with the security model on Windows. So you add that shim, and you're able to run, your Angular JS and other Knockout JS and so on to build Windows web apps. An important thing that this is a great shim. It's not complete. It's open source. People can contribute to it. The ultimate goal is that this shim would be useless in the future. We really want to hear from the web developers, and that shim definitely is also a nice playground for us to learn what do developers want to do in a Windows web app, and what could help them bring their code onto Windows and extend the reach. And this is really also a learning process for us. This can help them in the short term getting their apps on the store. Longer term, we want to know what we need to change on the Windows platform to keep it secure, still allowing people to bring their open source code.
You made a really important point, a learning process for us too, because to be part of a community, you have to learn from it and give to it. And so I think you guys are doing some great things, and we look forward to seeing what you and the rest of the Open Technology Group does in the future.
Great. Yeah.
Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you very much.